What's up, everybody? I'm Najee Adams.
And I'm Hunter Jacobs.
And you're listening to the Hoop Ball Nets podcast. So we're recording this right after the Knicks game. Tonight, our first debut episode went up on Twitter, so make sure you guys go follow us at Hoop Ball Nets. Shout out to Aaron Brewski and Dan Vespers for helping us with this whole podcasting thing. We're excited to continue to keep growing as a podcast. So make sure to go follow us on iTunes. By the time you're listening to this, it should be on iTunes. So go subscribe, leave a nice 5-star review and everything. But let's get into the games. So we're gonna start with the Warriors game since that's where we left off on last podcast. So the Nets lost to the Warriors as we predicted. We predicted them to lose by like 35 or some crazy. We predicted some crazy blowout, but they only lost by 6. They lost 120 to 114. They outscored the Warriors 37-27 in the fourth quarter. Kind of started to make a comeback, but it just wasn't enough. It usually isn't when you have 4 All-Stars on the team. As per usual, they lost a turnover battle 15-12. Honestly, that's not that bad for the Nets because they usually get 20 turnovers, 22 turnovers a game. So 15 isn't that bad. But against a team like the Warriors, they're going to make you pay. Caris LeVert and D'Angelo Russell combined for 8 of them alone.
The Nets also lost the rebound battle 47-37, which is expected with the Warriors. They're a great rebounding team. Everyone rebounds, and the Nets were going to miss more shots than the Warriors, so it's expected that they get out-rebounded. But also that Jared Allen has been lacking on the boards, which is the reason
He's been lacking in everything.
He didn't really play at the end of the Knicks game today because Enes Kanter was destroying him on the boards. So
Enes Kanter always destroys him.
Yeah, Jared Allen needs to, and Kenny Atkinson called him and Ed Davis out for their next game against the Pistons, saying that if he makes a lineup with both of them, that they better rebound the ball because he expects that lineup with both of them to work if it happens. That's the only reason for making
a lineup like that, because that's no perimeter shooting. Because you're not Jared Allen can shoot a couple of threes, but he's
Ed Davis can't shoot at all.
Exactly. So if you have a lineup like that out there, it's purely for rebounding.
And it's gonna be against Blake and Drummond, so they're gonna need the rebounds. But they are right behind the Warriors right now in rebounds for the season. But the Warriors won the rebounds in this one, and the fourth quarter, the Nets defense, as we know, is one of their weak points, but they actually held the stars, Steph, KD, Clay, to a lot of missed shots down the stretch, which is how they came back. They had the ability to tie the game and eventually get the lead, but it came to a point where they were down 2, and the Warriors got the ball after missing shots on 8 straight possessions, and Kevin Durant basically was just tired and said, I had enough, made his easy, regular mid-range jumper right in Caris LeVert's face without even trying, and then that was basically game over. And then Steph's dagger on the next possession after that, off a screen 3 game.
So the Nets, as we've discussed, the Nets' biggest 3 problems are probably their offensive rebounding, their defense, and their turnovers. So when it comes to offensive rebounding, they gave up 12. And when you give up 12 to a team as talented as the Warriors, when you give them a second chance, 9 times out of 10 they're going to convert on it. They're actually the 7th worst team in the league when it comes to offensive rebounding. However, as you could probably guess, one of the 6 teams worse than them are the Nets. And that's, like we said, a huge area of concern.
The only person on the Nets who can offensive rebound the ball is Ed Davis.
Consistently offensive rebound the ball is Ed Davis. Jared Allen has his time.
And they have a nice Kenneth Faried who's going to see the court for garbage time, who's good at offensive rebounding, but that's about it.
When it comes to shooting, they actually they kind of held in there with the Warriors. The Nets shot 48.3% from the field, 47.6% from the three-point line, and 66.7% from the free throw line, while the Warriors shot 49.4% from the field, 33.3% from the three-point line, and 87.5% from the stripe. The Nets made 23s, and 4 Nets made at least 4 threes.
Shout out to Alan Crabb, who down the stretch continuously hit threes. He's the reason they came back. having him in the game, like in this game, I think he earned his role as a closer in the lineup. He might actually earn that spot back over Joe Harris, who missed a shot that would have brought them to
Brooklyn
one.
Baller of the week, Joe Harris.
He missed a shot that would have brought them to down one with 7 seconds left. But Allen Crabbe kept hitting his shots, so it was a good game for him after a big stretch of bad games to start the season.
When you think about it, it's actually pretty impressive that they managed to hang in there with the Warriors from 3, even though Klay was off. And when Klay's off, that kind of brings down the Warriors' morale in their three-pointers. But hey, the Nets hung in there. They made 23s compared to the Warriors' 11, but the Warriors ended up attempting 9 more free throws. On to the box score. KD and Steph alone combined for 69 points. And we called on our last podcast that Steph was going to absolutely obliterate the Nets.
Because the guards do not know how to play defense
I think on the
all.
last podcast he said he was going to score like 53. He was going to score some crazy amount. And he ended up scoring, 30? He scored 35. KD had 34 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block on 11 of 20 shooting in 39 minutes. He was getting to the basket with ease, taking 11 free throws. I mean, when it comes to the Nets, when it comes to the league, can't anybody really guard KD? Like, if KD wants a bucket, he's going to get a bucket.
No one can guard anyone on the Warriors. They're just too good.
Steph ended with 35 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and he made 7 threes on 11 of 26 shooting in 36 minutes.
Continues his ridiculous pace to start the season.
He is going bonkers.
He is back to his unanimous MVP self right now.
Crazy.
And shout out to Klay for breaking the NBA record with 3-pointers with 14 tonight.
Yeah, that is insane. If you had Klay in fantasy, you're definitely winning 3-pointers if you're in categories. Even in this game, even Klay was getting to this was before his shot. He hit 14 threes tonight, so he went 1 of 5 from 3 in the game versus the Nets. But he was getting to the basket. He put up 18 points. On to the Nets. D'Lo and LeVert combined for 48 points and are clearly the Nets' 2 most dynamic players. Caris LeVert had 23 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2 blocks on 9 of 18 shooting. He knocked down 4 of 7 threes. He shot 50%, so he's kind of back to that efficient shooting.
And a couple of those threes were actually down the stretch, too, in the midst of Crabbe's surge in the fourth. He had a couple of shots. He was just pulling right in their face.
Hunter was watching the game, and I was doing homework, so I strictly remember him texting me, the Nets are going to win. They're drilling threes.
Yeah,
Nothing but threes.
They did not miss. Caris LeVert and Allen Crabbe, everything they put up was going in the fourth. D'Lo also put in a couple extra shots at the end. He had the best stat line of the night with 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and a block, 9 of 14 shooting, 5 threes. He's actually been a solid 3-point shooter so far this season. His efficiency from 3 has been there. But, once again, 5 turnovers because he doesn't know how to handle the ball, make smart plays. So,
You can't just let him have a good game every time.
I mean, if he ended the game with 1 turnover, then he'd have a great stat line and a smart gameplay. But no, he makes mistakes too much.
Well, speaking of D'Lo, he currently ranks, I didn't know this, but I looked it up. He currently ranks 4th in the NBA in 3-point percentage for guys who have taken over 33s. He's only behind Steph, who is completely on fire, Chris Middleton, and Kyle Lowry. He's shooting 49% from 3, which is better than guys like Klay Thompson, but Klay's shooting 14% from 3. Well, not after tonight.
He was.
Yeah. He's better. Right now, D'Lo's shooting a better 3-point percentage than Klay Thompson, James Harden, and Victor Oladipo.
I'd expect Klay to change, but Harden and Oladipo, he can beat them.
Another crazy stat is that Caris LeVert and D'Angelo Russell have the 2 best pull-up 3-point percentages in the league for players with a minimum of 10 attempts. D'Lo is actually leading the NBA in pull-up 3-point percentages with 61.5%, and Caris is tied for second with Chris Middleton at 60%.
That's because the Nets run the fast offense, the shoot-at-will offense, so what they do is they create fast breaks, come up the court, and they just, if they see any space, they're not afraid to shoot it. But their issue is that they do this and they don't have anyone to rebound. So if they miss, they're out of luck. Other teams run the half court and have someone to offensive rebound, which is how they get more opportunities and more shots up than the Nets, who just keep running and gunning without anyone to rebound for them.
And at this early into the season, it's hard to really buy into a lot of things. But one thing with the Nets I'm buying into is that they go as far as Caris LeVert and D'Lo take them. And I feel like it's time for Kenny Atkinson to just forget the whole short leash thing and realize that if D'Lo's not your best player, he's your 1B to Caris's 1A or the 1A to Caris's 1B, and just play him 30 minutes a night no matter what. What do you have to lose?
Well, I will say that it's tough to play all three of their guards. So in a game where Dinwiddie has the hot hand, I see why you would sit D'Angelo
But
Russell.
he didn't have the hot hand this and a lot.
I know, no. He played D'Lo and Caris at the end of this game because they both had the hot hand. But in a game that D'Lo's 1 for 13 with 3 points and Dinwiddie has 19 off the bench, you're going to play him at the end of the game.
I just feel like everyone knows Spencer Dinwiddie's time on this team. He might be off the team by the All-Star break. D'Lo, there's a good chance he's on this team for the foreseeable future. So, and we know the Nets aren't. They're trying to win games, but the chance they have of making the playoffs is slim. So why not just run D'Lo to the ground? Like, play him 35 minutes. Steph played 36 minutes. Play D'Lo 32 minutes a night, 33 minutes a night. See what he has, and if he's good, then you give him the extension at the end of the year, mid-year, and you lock him up.
At this point, though, based on how everyone looks, I'd be more inclined to give Caris the extension than D'Lo, because I'd rather risk having Dinwiddie and Napier as my point guards than lose Caris LeVert.
You'd risk Shabazz Napier being your starting point guard
instead of losing Caris LeVert.
Shabazz Napier being your starting point guard
and losing Caris LeVert. So it's basically Caris LeVert versus D'Lo.
There's no way, and I think it's clear that which one we both would choose. I choose D'Lo, you choose Caris LeVert.
Yes, and it makes sense because if you lose Caris LeVert, you're not starting Dinwiddie at the 2. So what, you're going to go back to starting Allen Crabbe and Joe Harris? Wow, that lineup took you far. Allen Crabbe and DeMar Carroll.
I would rather start D'Lo and Joe Harris or D'Lo and Allen Crabbe than Shabazz Napier.
Then Dinwiddie and Caris LeVert.
No.
Dinwiddie and Caris LeVert is a better lineup than D'Lo and Joe Harris.
Okay. No, it is. But Spencer Dinwiddie is not. D'Lo is more talented than Caris LeVert. D'Lo's their most talented player. I don't care what anyone says. D'Lo is by far their most talented player, so why would you give that up? D'Lo is miles more talented than Caris LeVert.
Miles more talented? No. More talented, yes.
Yes, talented. More talented. Way more talented.
But he uses it wrong.
He's 22.
His brain isn't there. He has the talent. He doesn't have the smarts of basketball.
He's 22.
Okay, and Caris LeVert is not some old man.
Caris LeVert averages 4 turnovers a game, too. They both don't hold on to the ball. And D'Lo's the better shooter and passer. Caris LeVert just gets to the basket. That's it.
Caris LeVert has been the better player this season, correct?
In what, 5 games, 6 games?
Yes.
Wait till we get to the next game. Do you know what he shot in the next game?
Yes, he had a terrible game. He had a terrible game. Everyone's due for a bad game when you're shooting like this.
I feel like this is. I don't want this to just become Caris LeVert versus D'Lo because we like both of them. We do. But if it comes down to who their franchise player is, we have 2 completely different views on the topic.
I mean, also Jared Allen is always going to be their anchor center.
Jared Allen has been. Oh, I don't want to say trash because he's not trash. He's been underwhelming to start the season.
That is true, but he still had some solid games. He just has some 7 and 6 games where he could be playing a lot better than that.
Let me ask you before moving on to the next game, what does the Nets hanging with the Warriors mean? For the Nets, not for the Warriors, for the Nets. Because the Warriors don't care. Had they have lost, I don't think they would have really cared. But had the Nets won, it would have been a celebration.
See, it would have meant something had the Nets won, but they came back, got the hot hand, hit a bunch of threes, made Draymond Green force a turnover, and then what happens? Something that happened in the Pelicans game and the Pistons game. They can't close. They can't come back.
But that's
they
to be
can't
expected
win.
of a young
They
team.
cannot win the games. It doesn't matter. It means nothing because they didn't win. It means absolutely nothing. I don't care what team it is. It means nothing.
Me and you sat here and said that they're going to get blown out by 35. And they lost by 6. So you're telling me it means absolutely nothing that they were able to hang in with the 2-time NBA champions and lose by 6.
No, because the way I see it is the Warriors thought the game was over at some point and just were holding the ball, taking any shot.
But that's not fair to the Nets. That's just underplaying what they did.
And then once they realized, oh, now it's a 2-point game, what do? Give it to Kevin Durant for an easy fadeaway. And then the Nets miss. Oh, let's get Steph his open 3, game over. It's.
But I feel like saying the Warriors just didn't care is really just like taking away all the work that the Nets did.
It's not that they don't care, but them in the regular season at 7-1, while you know they have a lot more that they'll show in the playoffs, it doesn't mean anything that the Nets came back and lost. They didn't win.
But it's not like they came back versus any team. It's the Warriors, and they could
like
easily
it means something for the Nuggets when the Nuggets held them off and beat them in a close game.
Why does it mean something for the Nuggets but not the Nets? We
because
know
the
Nuggets are
beat
good.
Them.
We know the Nuggets can beat the Warriors.
That is a statement game.
There's people that would say
Handed
the
them
Nuggets.
That one loss.
There's people that would pick the Nuggets to beat the Warriors. I don't know how many people you could pick. I don't know how many people would pick the Nets to beat the Warriors, and they lost by 6.
But they lost.
But they lost by 6
they still
to the
lost.
Warriors. I get that they lost, but it's not like they got blown out like everyone was expecting. It showed some grit, some grind, something. That they have the capability of hanging in with one of these. They could have they were a possession away from beating the Pelicans. And then they come back and they're 3 possessions away from beating?
Possession away from beating the Pistons. But what happened in that game?
They should have beat the Pistons,
lost.
Yes. They were a possession away from beating the Pelicans and a possession away from beating the 3 possessions away from beating the Warriors.
So let's say they end 4 games out of the 8th seed in the East. You're going to look back at all these games and realize that they can't close.
Free agents
and that's the reason they did
Their
not
pitch
win.
to free agents is going to be they're going to look back on these games and be like, had we had you, we could have beat the Warriors. Had we had you, we could have beat the Pelicans. Because you bring a veteran presence to this team, we wouldn't have that turnover problem because the ball will be in your hands. That's what they're going to pitch to. Like, this is what they need to show free agents, that they can hang in with good teams without a star yet. And D'Lo and Caris LeVert are showing they can develop into a star, so let them get an actual bona fide superstar, and that's perfect for them.
I honestly believe, though, that if they get a free agent, that's going to take a lot away from Caris LeVert. Maybe not D'Lo. That's going to take a lot away from Caris LeVert, who has the ball in his hands a lot right now. You get a superstar, Caris LeVert doesn't have the ball in his hands anymore because it's split between D'Lo and that superstar.
And I understand what you're saying, and maybe that is the case, but
they need a superstar, yes. That's true.
All I'm trying to say is I feel like it means something for them because a year ago, they would have got blown out by 30. 2 years ago, they would have got blown out by 50.
But they're a better team now.
That's what I'm saying. But we didn't expect them to be as good as they were in this game.
They had a hot hand. Everyone has a hot game. You expect Alan Crabb to continuously drill
Alan Crabb is like
threes
13.
like that.
How much did Alan Crabb have? Like 16? He can average 14. What did he average last year? Like
but
13.
the way he was hitting these threes at the end of the game with confidence, and then LeVert taking them with confidence, D'Lo, that's rare. That is rare. They're not going to do that every game. They should have been able to do it against the Knicks.
Well, since you bring up the Knicks game, let's get to it. They got outscored. Well, they ended up losing 115-96. It
was a back-to-back, by the way, so they were seemingly tired.
They got outscored 23-33 coming out of the half, which seems to be a continued problem for them. They continue to come out of the half with no intensity, getting outscored by a whole bunch of teams, which is weird because last year they were one of the best scoring offenses coming out of the half.
Also, it's weird for a team that runs such a quick offense to start slow out of the half. Usually that's something for the teams that run the half court and the slow game. But for a team that comes out running right away, it's kind of strange that they can't score coming out of the half. But for once, one bright side of the whole game, they only turned the ball over 10 times. But they shot the ball so bad in this game that it did not matter that they turned the ball over 10 times.
They won the turnover battle for the second time this season. They got what really lost them the game was rebounds. And poor shooting percentage, but they got out rebounded for the second straight game, losing the rebound battle 53-32. They gave up 16 offensive rebounds.
Reason for Jared Allen sitting for the entirety of the fourth quarter because he let Enes Kanter grab 15 rebounds on his head.
When I think he got 6 offensive rebounds too. When we go to the actual team shooting, they shot 40.5% from the field, only 28.9% from the 3-point line, and 77.3% from the free throw line. They only made 11 of their 38 3-point attempts. They went cold from downtown. On the other hand, they allowed the Knicks to shoot 48.9% from the field, 37.5% from 3, and 88.9% from the free throw line. They allowed the Knicks to shoot 48.9%, and they allowed the Warriors to shoot 49.4%. There's no way you should be giving up almost the same percentage as to the Knicks that you gave the Warriors.
Okay, but the hot hand thing I was saying with the Warriors, cold hand against the Knicks. They hit 47% threes against the Warriors. They hit 29% in this game. They have to find a middle ground of consistency. They're gonna be hot and cold at the wrong time. Being hot against the Warriors is the wrong game to be hot. Because then you're cold against the Knicks. If you're hot against the Knicks like that, you destroy them.
I feel like it's all about finding a middle ground. It's all about finding consistency for these young players. Like, some games you're going to go cold. Some games you're going to be hot. But the problem with there always needs to be that middle ground where you can at least always salvage a decent game. Like with D'Lo, there's times he'll go 9 of 14, 9 of 16, but then there's times he'll go 2 of 7. I mean, like 2 of 15. And it's like, there's never those games. There's rarely those games where he goes 8 of 16. A cool 50%. It's always either great or bad, and it's about finding that consistent middle ground for him. When we go on to the notable stat lines, Jared Dudley played 18 minutes and went 0 of 4 with 2 rebounds and 3 assists. In my opinion, he should be completely out of the lineup.
He will be.
I don't understand why he's still playing. I don't understand what he brings to the team.
After this game from Hollis Jefferson, I don't expect Dudley to be starting the next game.
Caris LeVert had his worst game of the season. He scored 4 points to go with 2 rebounds and 5 assists on 2 of 11 shooting. He went 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. D'Lo scored 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists on 4 of 10 shooting, and also knocked down 3 triples in 27 minutes. Rondé Hollis Jefferson finally broke out. He had 16 points and 7 rebounds in 27 minutes. And Spencer Dinwiddie led the team in points with 17, but he didn't do much else as he only added 3 assists and a rebound. When the Nets don't turn the ball over, they shoot it poorly, and when they shoot it poorly, and when they don't shoot it poorly, they turn the ball over. They can't seem to get a game where they put it all together, and they gave up 15 and 15 to Enes Kanter, and they once again got lit up by the backcourt. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 25, and Frank Ntilikina had 16.
And Frank Ntilikina played great defense down the stretch and made D'Angelo Russell a non-factor completely. Every time he touched the ball, he would pass it because Ntilikina had swarming defense on him. But it's like I said, the Nets got hot against the Warriors. Wrong team to get hot against because they'll beat you regardless. And then they get cold against the Knicks, who, if they were hot against the Knicks, they would have won. So they just picked the wrong time to get hot and cold, and they showed fatigue in this game. The only person who seemed fresh was the person whose second game of the season it was, Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Wait, was it second or third?
Third, I think third. He had 16 and 7, 27 minutes. Him and Dinwiddie had the 2 best games off the bench. And Hollis Jefferson probably going to start for Dudley very soon. And then when Damari Carroll comes back, Dudley should not play at all.
Low-key, someone who is kind of contributing from the Nets off the bench is Shabazz Napier. He scored like 12, 16, 12.
He had 12 again today. He was good on the Blazers. He closed games with them in a 3-guard lineup. I thought he should play when the Nets signed him. That's why I think they should trade Dinwiddie so that Napier gets more minutes, because they can get something out of Dinwiddie that they need in a trade.
Like we said, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Frank Ntilikina lit the backcourt up with 41 points. And since we're talking about backcourts, I have a very controversial question for you. Well, at least controversial in our eyes. Are D'Lo and Caris LeVert a top 10 backcourt?
No.
See, now we've talked about this.
No.
And we've compiled a list. So the shoo-ins, of course, are Stephen Clay, CP3, and John Wall. Wow, that's crazy. Just so you guys know, it's 5:45 in the morning, so forgive us if we're a little loopy. CP3 and Harden, John Wall and Bradley Beal, Kyrie and Jaylen Brown, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, Jamal Murray, Gary Harris. And that's kind of where it stops because we have Rubio and Mitchell as a shoo-in, but as I'm reading this now, Ricky Rubio has been having a horrible season. So let's just say we put them in because Donovan Mitchell carries that. Sure. We have nope, they don't count either. I guess
Dragic and Josh Richardson.
Dragic
100%.
and Josh Richardson's a shoo-in. And I guess Jeff Teague and Jimmy Butler's a shoo-in. Now, we didn't put people like Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lamb because Jeremy Lamb is not that good. And we're not going to just put him in because Kemba Walker. We didn't put Darren Collison and Victor Oladipo.
We didn't put Westbrook and Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, because Victor Oladipo carries that and Westbrook carries that. We didn't put Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz because
Bryn Forbes and DeMar DeRozan. Yeah,
we didn't put. We need two competent
There
guards.
is also one backcourt that I think is better that Najee does not believe is better. Kyle Lowry and Danny Green. But
See, that one was iffy for me, but I would still give it to D'Lo and Caris LeVert. The ones we're on the edge about, because what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 that we just said. So the ones we're on the edge about is De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, Eric Bledsoe and Malcolm Brogdon, and D'Lo and Caris LeVert. So with Fox and Buddy Hield, I definitely feel like Caris LeVert is better than Buddy Hield. Is D'Lo better than De'Aaron Fox? I don't know because De'Aaron Fox is having an amazing season.
Also, De'Aaron Fox plays defense. D'Angelo Russell doesn't.
Okay, so let's say fine. Maybe the Nets aren't a top 10 backcourt. Are they top 11? They're definitely top 15. So are they right outside top 10?
I give them about 12, 13.
I say they're better than Eric Bledsoe and Malcolm Brogdon.
No. They're not.
Caris LeVert is.
They're not because of how little is asked of Bledsoe and Brogdon and the efficiency and lack of turnovers that they have because of what little is asked of them compared to how much D'Lo and LeVert have the ball. It's obvious to me.
Eric Bledsoe is averaging 13 points in 28 minutes, and D'Lo is averaging 17 in 29 minutes?
Do the Nets have Middleton or Giannis? Two players better than anyone the Nets could imagine having right now.
Eric Bledsoe attempts 10.9 shots per game. D'Angelo Russell, hold on, give me a second
13.
here. D'Angelo Russell
13.
attempts
13.
13. 11 to 13? He attempts 2 more shots. And averages, 3 more points? 4 more points?
And Bledsoe's doing everything else better in the stat sheet. Turnovers, steals, blocks, rebounds,
D'Lo's
assists,
gonna
efficiency.
have the turnovers, but I would still say D'Lo's better than Caris. No, D'Lo is better than Caris LeVert, but I'd also say D'Lo's better than Eric Bledsoe.
Literally everything except points, which is because of the amount of shots he takes.
He shoots 2 more shots.
Okay, 2 more shots, 3 more points.
He's the better offensive player. He's I guess
he's not.
He is
because if
he's
you
definitely
go
the better
to Eric
offensive
Bledsoe
player.
and look at what he did when he was the man with the keys to the offense in Phoenix, he averaged 21 points per game.
Okay, he was also like 8 years deep in his career. 6 years deep in his career. D'Lo's 4 years deep. I'm sure.
Okay, I'm
two
talking.
more years.
We're talking today though.
And D'Lo's better today. You're
He's
talking
not.
back when he was on the Suns.
Okay, Bledsoe's the same player on a way better team.
But on that team, when he was on the Suns averaging 21, he was far deeper in his career than D'Lo is now, so it's unfair to compare the two.
No, I'm comparing Bledsoe back then to Bledsoe now because the same player, he just no longer has the keys to the offense. So I'm looking at the stats he could have if he had D'Lo's role.
But D'Lo in this offense, 7 games? Okay, I'm pretty sure. Wait, in the simplest of terms, is D'Lo a better scorer than Eric Bledsoe?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. He's a better shooter.
Is he?
Yeah. What?
Shooting is the only thing I'll give you.
What else? He's
getting to the basket, athleticism.
He's craftier. Okay, you don't have to be athletic to be a great scorer.
Athleticism.
You don't have to be athletic to be a great scorer.
Mid-range.
What mid-range?
Getting to the basket. Eric Bledsoe
I
wins
think
all of
D'Lo's
that.
better shooting at
The
3-point
only
shooting
thing
and
he
mid-range shooting.
No, his mid-range game is not good.
What do you mean?
D'Angelo Russell's mid-range game is not good.
Have you seen how many crafty floaters he takes, having someone on his back pulling
and
doing
Eric
and one
Bledsoe
jump
is
shots?
way better inside the arc than D'Lo. Outside, I'll give you that.
Eric Bledsoe's better inside the paint.
No, inside the 3-point line.
Inside the paint.
Eric Bledsoe's better
Eric
at
Bledsoe's
everything.
better inside the paint.
Everything inside the arc, he's better than him.
Okay, and Caris LeVert and Malcolm Brogdon. That's not even an argument. Caris LeVert is better than Malcolm Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon also
Stop it.
Okay, Caris LeVert is
better than
by
Malcolm
a
Brogdon.
very small margin.
What are you talking about?
Brogdon plays great defense.
We can't. That's all you've said for both of them. They play great defense.
Okay, and also
Caris LeVert is better than Malcolm
They're on
Brogdon.
an undefeated team where they're not asked a lot of.
I don't care about. I'm talking about their skill as players. If Malcolm Brogdon was on the Nets, he'd be doing worse than Caris
Bledsoe
LeVert.
and Brogdon were on the Nets, they'd be better than 2 and 4 right now.
Because they're more experienced. Bledsoe's the more experienced
they're
player.
better
He wouldn't make the
because
same
they're
mistakes
better.
D'Lo makes easily because he's more experienced.
No, they're better.
No, they're not.
Maybe in 2 years, D'Lo and LeVert will be
They're better right now at this moment.
They're not.
Right now, at 5:51 in the morning
No,
on
they're
October
not.
30th, they are better
They're
than
not. They're
Eric
not.
Bledsoe and Malcolm Brogdon.
They're not.
They are. Looking ahead, let us know. Tweet at us at HoopBallNets on Twitter and let us know who was right, Najee or Hunter. I would make another bet with you, but you're going to lose the first one.
There is little to no doubt in my mind that the Nets, too, are not a top 10 backcourt.
Okay,
and
they're
that
not top 10.
Bledsoe,
They're definitely better than Eric Bledsoe
and
and
that Bledsoe
Malcolm
and Brogdon are better than them.
Not a chance. Looking ahead, the Nets play the Pistons. I think they're at home. Yeah, the Nets play the Pistons at home. The Pistons are currently 4-1. They're coming off what? They're coming off a loss to the Celtics, right?
Yes, the Celtics completely blew out the Pistons by 20 after they were undefeated prior to the game.
So yeah, they're coming off a loss. The Nets only lost to them by 2 a couple games ago, so they have the chance to pull one out against the Pistons. We predicted they win this game against the Pistons, but we also predicted they win the game against the Knicks. So, but if I had to predict, I'd say I want to say they pull one out and win, but I also can see Blake Griffin going off for 45 and the Nets not being able to match it. I can also see Reggie Jackson lighting them up.
Okay, so what I expect is a fat L and a 20-20 game from Drummond. That is my prediction. The score, I will say 107-101 Pistons.
What do you base these scores off of? You just pull them off the top of your head.
I give it a 29-point performance from Blake. I give it.
He's literally just pulling stats from nowhere.
I give it 25 and 22 from Drummond.
Okay. I give Reggie Jackson 28 and 19.
No, I give Reggie Jackson approximately 16 points.
Okay. Remember this. So 16 for Reggie Jackson. How much for Drummond?
25 and 22.
Yeah, you didn't even
25
remember.
and 22.
And how much for Blake Griffin?
29.
Okay, remember that because we'll be back next episode to see if he was right. But that's it for this episode, guys. We want to thank you for listening. Like we said, we just debuted on. We're also on Stitcher. If anyone uses Stitcher, go look us up on that. Make sure to follow us. You can listen on hoopball.com, of course. Follow us on Twitter at hoopballnets. By the time you hear this, it should be on iTunes. So subscribe, leave a rate and review. Please give us 5 stars. If you have any criticism, we're open to it. Please tweet it at us. You put it in the iTunes review. But if you want to follow us individually on Twitter, I'm at Najee Adams _. If you don't know how to spell Najee, it's Najee Adams _. Hunter's at
Hunter _JKR.
So yeah, thank y'all for listening once again. We'll see you next episode.